Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Deepanjali Arora. I'm a Vedic astrologer, a tarot reader and a healer. And today I'm going to discuss a very important transit which is happening in the skies as we are talking right now. So Saturn is going retrograde in the sign of Capricorn from 23rd May till 11th October 2021. Now what does that mean for each and every one of us? Let's first understand what Saturn signifies for us in a horoscope. Let's take an example. Imagine that you are driving a car, but the car has no brakes. There is a failure of brakes in the cars. What do you think will happen? You'll have an accident and the result will not be favorable to you in any way, right? So that is what Saturn is. It's the brake in your car. It is the most feared and most misunderstood of the planets. But what it actually does, it puts in controls and checks in our life, like the brakes in your car. It is stopping us from being unnecessarily hasty and making mistakes. It is definitely a hard taskmaster, but it also gives results in accordance to your actions. So to make Saturn work for us, all we have to do is to take care of our actions and all will be well, which is more easy to say than to do, right? Now, Saturn is a planet of justice and responsibility, and it will give you fruits, or it will give you fruits of your labor without any bias and holds you totally accountable for your actions. There is no blame game with Saturn. While it is doing this, Saturn is also not in any hurry. It will take its own good time. So we say Saturn causes delays. It is, after all, a planet which is the slowest moving in the entire zodiac belt. Saturn stays in one zodiac sign for 2.5 years, which is the longest duration compared to all other planets. So it is basically asking us to look closely at our action. It is inspiring us to do our best. So wherever Saturn is placed in your horoscope, that is the house which will require maximum effort. You will have to put in a lot of hard work to get the work done and to improve that house wherever Saturn is positioned in your horoscope. Saturn has been in the sign of Capricorn since 24th January 2020. And now it's going retrograde on May 23rd and will stay there till 11th of October 2021. This will be a very, very important time frame for most of us, because when planets go retrograde, they appear to be moving backwards relative to Earth, but they actually are not. They are not moving backward in the zodiac belt, but it appears so for us from Earth, that they are going back. Now, what does that mean for us in our lives? Now, let's take an example again. Imagine you're driving a car and you're going for a meeting. Suddenly, halfway through the journey, you realize that you have forgotten the important documents which you needed for the meeting back at home. What are you going to do then? Well, you're going to take a U-turn, aren't you? So you take a U-turn, you go back home, you pick up those documents, and then you start moving again directly towards your meeting. So this aspect of taking U-turn is called retrogression. Now, what happens with retrogression? It's an opportunity given to us by planets for second chances, for improving the mistakes which we might have made, to be better prepared. So that is that is an opportunity now Saturn is giving us in the sign of Capricorn. So it is asking us to correct mistakes, to finish where we were lagging behind, and it is giving us a second chance. Now, of course, the effect of the same will vary for each and every one of us. For some of us, it can cause frustrating delays, because I understand it's about taking a U-turn. And for others, things might suddenly pick up speed. It totally depends on where your Saturn is transiting in your particular horoscope. Now, to get a full astrological report and to know the effects of Saturn, where it is transiting in your chart, and what will be its effects, you can write to me at the below mentioned email address. I'm going to look at the transit more closely as to what interesting changes it can bring to our lives. So I'm going to go through all the ascendants. For this, you need to know what is the rising sign or the moon sign according to the Vedic calculation, which is a sidereal calculation. That most of the time, when we talk about our zodiac sign, it is the sun sign that we are referring to. But that too is different in Vedic astrology. In case you don't know what your sign is, you can write to me and send me the details of your date, place, and time of birth, and I will let you know what your placements are. Just before I begin, I want to also say that, say for example, if your rising sign and your moon sign are different, for us, say if your rising is in Leo and your moon sign is Cancer, I suggest you listen to both of them because you will get interesting information through both. Because when we look at things from the ascendant, it's talking about changes in our physical world. And when we look at things from the moon sign, it's changes in our emotional space. It's how our mind is going to function. And both are equally important. Now let's begin with the fire signs, which are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Now Saturn is transiting in the 10th house for Aries, in the 6th house for Leo, and in the 2nd house for Sagittarius. It is interesting to note that for all the fire signs, Saturn is going to be retrograde in their Artha houses. What does that mean? Artha houses deals with making money, saving money, working, your co-workers, and all the things related to your work. For Aries, Saturn is retrograde in the 10th house. There could be change in the work environment. It is an opportunity for you to start on your own. You will be exposed to take much more responsibility than before. The projects which were stuck will get a new lease of life. You may have issues with your bosses, so keep your cool, my dear Aries. For Leo, Saturn is retrograde in the 6th house. You have to be very focused on your health and your daily routine. If you have been facing some chronic health issues, it's time for solutions. Try to keep your pride aside and take help from co-workers. If you have been having problems before, it's going to be resolved now. Some new work opportunity might come your way, or old ones might get revived. Consistent hard work is the key for your success. For Sagittarius rising, Saturn is retrograde in your 2nd house. Your focus has to be on savings and family. It could be that some of you were facing coldness in your family ties. This retrograde will help resolve that. It is also a good time for increasing your savings. You may also inherit. You also need to be very careful about what you eat because that's going to directly impact your health. Let's move on to earth signs, which are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Saturn is transiting in the 9th house for Taurus, 5th house for Virgo, and 1st house for Capricorn. And for the earth sign, Saturn is going retrograde in their dharma houses. That means it has to do with self-growth, learnings, and duty towards others and also towards yourself. What is your dharma? For Taurus, Saturn is retrograde in the 9th house. It's time to learn or relearn something new. If you have been feeling disconnected with your teachers, gurus, or your father lately, then that situation will change. Any travel plans which were stuck will see the light of the day. Time to meditate and focus on self-growth. For Virgos, Saturn is retrograde in the 5th house. Your creativity will be unblocked. This is a good time for learnings and trying out new things. Saturn inspires you to come out of your comfort zone. Not a very good time for romantic relationships, but there could be return of a past relationship. If your children have been rebellious before, they will calm down. For Capricorn, Saturn is retrograde in the 1st house. It's time for self-assessment and renewal. It's time to reflect on what you need to do and where you want to be. There is a lot of responsibility on you since Saturn transit started in the sign of Capricorn in Jan 2020. But now it's time to take check of your life and surroundings. Create self-discipline for yourself, not just for others. Now let's look at the air signs, which are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Saturn is transiting in the 8th house for Gemini, 4th house for Libra, and the 12th house for Aquarius. It is interesting that for air signs, Saturn is going retrograde in their moksha houses. That means it has to do with letting go, freedom from restrictions, and interest in occult and metaphysical studies. For Gemini, Saturn is retrograde in the 8th house. Some secrets could be revealed about your spouse. If things have been a little cool between the both of you, then the situation will reverse. You may have sudden gains from some investments that you have made a long time ago, possibility of inheritance. You will be very interested in occult and metaphysical studies. For Libra, Saturn goes retrograde in the 4th house, which relates to issues relating to your mother and home. You may buy a new house or a car, or spend time renovating the one that you are living in. If you have been feeling distant and disconnected from your loved ones, then that will change. Try spending time with your mother. It's time for old wounds to heal. For Aquarius, Saturn is retrograde in the 12th house. You will crave isolation. You need to spend time alone with yourself, which will help you greatly. Some long distance travel might also happen during this time. Your sleep may be disturbed. Overall, it's time for inner reflection. Now let's see what's happening with water signs, which are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Saturn is transiting in the 7th house from Cancer, 3rd house from Scorpio, and 11th house from Pisces. It is interesting to note that for water signs, Saturn is going retrograde in their karma houses. That means it has to do with their desires and fulfillment of the same. For Cancer, Saturn will go retrograde in the 7th house. Relationship with your spouse and partners will play a major role. It is time to improve your relationships with all your partners. Retrograde Saturn is asking you to do the needful to improve it. In some cases, it can denote endings. Either way, the road ahead becomes clearer. For some, this may be the time to reconcile with their spouses or their partners. For Scorpio, Saturn will be retrograde in the 3rd house. Time to reconnect with your siblings, mostly those who are younger to you. Short distance travels, which you have not been able to do because of the pandemic since last year when Saturn came in the sign of Capricorn, will start to happen. You will be putting in a lot of effort, and rework of the same jobs might happen in your professional space. For Pisces, Saturn will be retrograde in the 11th house. Either you will reap the rewards of your hard work or they could be delayed. Anything can happen. Time for reconnection with your network circle. It's time to make reconnections in your network circle. You will be very discerning and won't spend time and energy on those things and people who don't bring value to your life. So this is it. This is my analysis for all the zodiac signs. I hope you enjoyed it. Do remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And if you want a personal consultation done, then my details are mentioned in the description below. Thank you for your time. Bye for now.